Welcome back to my channel, Luke Brickwalker. In this video, I will be rating the standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper. To start off, I will not be covering clone officers. This is just for the standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper. They first appeared in Star Wars Episode 2, and then appear in the Clone Wars Seasons 1 through 3. The Clone Troopers swiftly became the superior army in the galaxy after they made their identity known in the Battle of Geonosis 22 BBY. The Phase 1 armor only lasted a little over a year before it was switched to Phase 2 in 21 BBY. Their allegiance faction is Galactic Republic, and they have appeared in 22 sets over the course of the last 23 years since the movie was released in 2002. The first sets they appeared in were the ATTE and the Republic gunship. 2008 saw an influx of Phase 1 troopers with the release of the Clone Wars. There are currently 12 different variants of clone troopers with different types of prints or gear attached to them. Most of these variants are the standard white armor, with the only exceptions being the Wolfpack Trooper, Horn Battalion Trooper, and the Clone Cadet. I do not include the Bomb Squad troopers with these since they are more specialized, such as the Clone Pilot and the Clone Gunner. Let's jump into the breakdown of the character. I referred to the first 4 categories, skill, knowledge, force, and leadership, as internal characteristics. These are based off of what I see in Star Wars media. I refer to the following 3 categories, armor, gear, and weapons, as external characteristics, and are based on the actual minifigure and not what we see in the movies. You'll understand once I go through each category. So let's start with the first category, skill. Clone troopers were cloned from Jango Fett, who obviously was a pretty skilled individual, but clone troopers themselves definitely did not have the same amount of skill. All clones were trained in basic blaster combat, but usually didn't specialize in driving vehicles or flying starfighters, since those were more towards the pilots and the drivers. They were more skilled than a battle droid, but were shown to be about as skilled, honestly, as any other large army in the Star Wars universe. So for these reasons, I give them a skill rating of 5. For the knowledge rating, I considered the fact that their age was accelerated, meaning they didn't have as much real-world experience as someone else their age, as well as being isolated on Kamino away from the galaxy. The education they received was military in nature, leading me to rate the knowledge less than their skill with a value of 4. For force rating, they did not possess any kind of force abilities, even though the Kaminoans were later working on cloning force-sensitive individuals. But for this case, their force rating is 0. The next category is leadership. As I stated at the beginning of the video, I'm not including any officers in this rating. The base clones were led by trained clone sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and commanders, which I will cover in a future video. But for these clones, they get a leadership rating of 0. This means that the internal rating for Phase 1 Clone Troopers is 9. Now the next 3 categories that I refer to as the external categories and are minifigure specific can change from figure to figure. The first being the armor category. I looked at all the Phase 1 clones that have been released, and these are the 5 different types of armor pieces that they have been equipped with. The 5 pieces being the helmet, chest armor printing, leg armor printing, the physical cama, and the physical pauldron. Each piece of armor will add a +1 to their overall armor value. I do not include leg armor if there is no leg printing. The same logic is applied to the arm printing as well. I know the plain white legs and plain white arms are supposed to represent armor, but I have to add a little more value to the printed arms/legs, and if I don't see the armor printed, I'm not counting it. In these 2 examples, the clone trooper on the left has an armor rating of 3 since he has a helmet, chest printing, and leg printing. The clone trooper on the right has an armor rating of 4 since he has a helmet, pauldron, chest printing, and a cama, but he does not have leg printing, so I don't count that. The gear rating is a similar breakdown. I've given a value to each of the 4 pieces of gear that Phase 1 clones have been equipped with in sets. The jetpack is the most valuable piece of gear, so I'm giving it a value of +3. The other 3 pieces, being the rangefinder, visor, and floodlight, have a value of +1, since they are valuable, but not so much as a jetpack is. To try to make things a little more simple, I broke down each armor plus gear representation that has come with the LEGO set. Class A is the highest power level of the character without adding any weapons and coming in with a total power level of 15. The second is Class B with a power level of 14. The third is Class C with a power level of 14. The fourth is Class D with a power level of 13. The fifth is Class E with a power level of 12. The sixth is Class F with the power level of 12. The seventh is Class G with the power level of 11. And the final class is H with the power level of 9. The last 3 external categories is the weapons. Phase 1 clones have been given many different styles of blasters, but they all are categorized into either a blaster pistol, blaster, or blaster rifle. This figure shows each of the different types of blasters they have been equipped with throughout the years. A blaster pistol gives a +0.5 value, a blaster +1, and a blaster rifle is +1.5. I have also included the maximum number that can be equipped per trooper. They can have 2 blaster pistols, but they can only have 1 blaster or 1 blaster rifle. Now let's look at some examples. In this first example, the 4 internal categories will be the same, being skill at 5, knowledge at 4, force at 0, and leadership at 0. But let's look at the 3 external factors. In this case, the armor is 4 since the helmet, pauldron, chest, and comma. The gear rating is 1 since he has a visor. And the weapons category is 1 since he has 2 blasters, which is 0.5 plus 0.5, for a total character power of 15. The second example has the same internal value as before with the 5 skill and 4 knowledge. The armor would be 3 since he has a helmet, chest armor, and leg armor. His gear value is 0 since he doesn't have any pieces of gear on him. And then his weapons rating is 1.5 since he has a blaster rifle, which gives him a total power of 13.5. The third example has the same internal value, but his armor rating is 3 with the helmet, chest, and leg. His gear rating is 3 since he has a jetpack, and his weapon rating is 1 since he has a blaster, for a total character power of 16. My final example is the Clone Cadet. He has the same internal value of 9, but he doesn't have any armor or gear attached to him. He does have a blaster, so his total power is going to be 10. Now, if I look at my personal collection of Phase 1 Clone Troopers, I see that I have 7 different classes. Not all of my classes have the same weapons. For these, I put as weapon options 2 or 3 or 4, however many I need. For example, I have 12 Class F Clone Troopers with the blaster rifle, and then I have 1 Class F Clone Trooper with the blaster pistol. The same goes for my Class G Clone Troopers. I have 2 Class G clones that have a standard blaster, and then I have 44 Class G clones that have a blaster rifle. Altogether, I have 71 Phase 1 Clone Troopers for a total power of 902.5. That, added with the 94 power from my first video, gives me a total character power so far of 996.5. The Galactic Republic faction has now taken the lead for my dominant faction so far. Let me know in the comment section how many Phase 1 clones you have in your collection and what your total character power is so far. Check out my website at lukebrickwalker.com to quickly reference all my ratings so far. If you have any questions about my ratings, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.